Hey, thank you for joining us. I'm Kent Justice, your host for This Week in Jacksonville Business Edition. And our podcast today, I think it's a really special episode because Stephanie Costa is with us. She's the First Lady of Jacksonville University. Your husband, Tim, President Costa, has been with us on this show, on our Sunday morning show that we do. I was looking forward to this when your team reached out and said, hey, do you know about some of the things that Stephanie Costa is doing? I said, we need to have her on the show. So thank you for being with us. And one of the things that I see here from your team is Stephanie Costa is a driving force in shaping student success, fostering community engagement. And one of those things was that this week, we're speaking on a Wednesday. I know the podcast comes out on a Thursday, but today you were honored as one of this year's Women with Heart honorees, 9th annual 2025 Women with Heart Luncheon, and this benefits volunteers in medicine.
Yes.
Tell me about that connection and that honor.
Well, it's interesting. Tim and I were involved in Volunteers in Medicine in our previous community in Philadelphia. So we have been supporting Volunteers in Medicine for more than 30 years. And so when we came to Jacksonville and became affiliated with Volunteers in Medicine here, it was an easy transition to say, yes, we'll definitely support you. As many people probably know, Volunteers in Medicine provides insurance and medical care, not insurance, for the underinsured working poor or working families. And so that's very important to us to help people that need a hand out and a hand up, not a hand out.
No, I follow
You're going to be able
what you're
to
saying.
cut this,
And
right?
No cuts involved today. But the Volunteers in Medicine, absolutely, here in Jacksonville, over time, we've seen the impact that they make. What has you and Tim, what's your involvement been with them? Has it been support financially? Has it been able to volunteer with them? What does that look like?
It's been primarily financial support. Our volunteer efforts or my volunteer efforts are all at Jacksonville University, which doesn't leave a lot of time for other things, but it's very important for me when they reached out to me to say, yes, you can take whatever honor you're giving me and shine a light on what they're doing because it's so important to our community. Yeah.
So it's been, how long have you and Tim been back in Jacksonville, or I guess he back at the university, but it's been 12, 13, 14 years?
He started his 13th year, February 1st.
Yeah. One of the things that President Costa does really well is whenever we talk, when I hear him speak, he talks about your impact. And that was the draw to me today to talk with you about some of those things. What are the areas on campus that you're really getting your hands into and that you're really pushing to help students succeed in?
Thank you for asking. It's evolved over time. When we came to the university, there were certain things I needed to do or felt that I could do. I think that's evolved over time into what I'm doing now is primarily still strengthening the ties between the community and the university. It benefits both the community and certainly our university for people in the community to know what's going on at Jacksonville University and to meet our students. And on campus, we found a need for students to develop the soft skills that employers need, and we're finding that especially since the pandemic, that those skills are even more necessary. And so I found a little bit of a niche, even though I'm not an etiquette expert, that I speak to them on basic etiquette and professional development topics like how do you introduce yourself, RSVPing and the importance of that, the art of conversation, writing thank you notes, just all of these touches that they probably heard at home, but need to be reminded of and need to understand the importance of as they enter into the workforce.
Yeah, I think especially young and just getting into a career if you're there already, but on that college side, you may not pick up when somebody offers that to you, when you get that thank you card from someone else. And those are some of the great skills to have because they just take the impression you leave with someone else up a notch.
Yes.
That professionalism, that kindness,
yes.
that courtesy.
And kindness, I'm glad you said that. That is what I stress. It's basic kindness. It's basic kindness to try to make people around you feel comfortable with you, which you can't do if you're really nervous yourself. So we try to go through scenarios of if you're walking into a networking event and you're very nervous, there's probably somebody else who's very nervous too. Why don't you go over to them and see if you can help them feel comfortable, and in return, you'll make yourself more comfortable.
So one of the things that I know you've been involved in is the creation of the Cost Honors College. Tell us what the purpose is there and how that makes an impact.
We figured out that we needed to provide an opportunity for intellectually curious, highly motivated students. They need to have a little bit more. And so that's the impetus of the Cost Honors College, but it's also to take that cohort of students, figure out what works best for them, then whatever works, spread it out to the whole university. So the Cost Honors College provides the intellectually curious extra stimulation, but it's also going to benefit the entire university. And an example of that is we have a living learning community in North Hall. And we found a tremendous executive director, Dr. Lisa Sutherland, and one of her ideas was to have family dinners in the residence hall. So we do that twice a month, and it's called Tuesday Night Table, TNT. And it has been remarkable, the sense of community that that has created for our honors students. And so we have other on-campus groups saying, hey, when are we going to get that?
Right.
Which is a completely different thing than if we force-fed them, literally, and said, we're going to do this for you. When they ask for it, it's much more unique, and it makes a difference for them. So that's just one small example.
And what a kind of a simple idea in a lot of ways, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not brain surgery. You know, we're also obviously adding honors classes, but those are, if they're not full, there's seats open to, you know, students who aren't in the honors college to take them. So it raises their academics. It raises the community in all ways.
This officially opens fall 2025, is that what I'm reading?
Yes. The university has had for a long time an honors program, but moving it into an honors college is adding extra resources to it and doing these things that are much more unique to a college than a program. And it was important to me for it to be a college because it'll be much more enduring. A program can come and go.
Yeah, that's a great point. You mentioned Dr. Lisa Sutherland a moment ago. Is there a board that goes with that, or how does that kind of flesh out to make sure that it's lifting up those students who are part of the Honors College?
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking, because our board is tremendous. We have the Cost Honors College Executive Council, and I asked 22 of my favorite people in town who are very invested in education if they would serve, and not one person declined. So that was very humbling and also thrilling and energizing for us. And so we have a meeting coming up next week, and the ways these people have chosen to be involved are incredible and varied. They might be taking them students to the symphony. They might be taking students to an event. They might be providing funds for students to study abroad. It's all over the map, and each person is serving in the way that they're comfortable, and that's a pretty dynamic setting for us, and as I said, very exciting.
So will you oversee the scholars there, the cost scholars or what have you, or is that separate from the Honors College?
We have cost scholars who are separate from the Honors College. Scholarships have always been important to Tim and to me. I was a first-generation college student who went to school part-time at night because I had to work full-time to pay my way through school. So offering a student, a willing and able student, the ability to go to a four-year college in 4 years is very important to me. And that's what the Cost Scholars program is. We also meet with our Cost Scholars regularly to, you know, not only give them some added attention because we want to, but they also are great in telling us what we need to do better.
So you're getting some feedback there.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Matter of fact, President Cost told me, it's probably a year or two ago, but that somebody on campus had actually asked him, hey, why do you, meaning an older generation, why do you guys say hang up the phone? You've heard this story before, right? Because these things you don't hang up.
Yes.
Yeah, he told me that it's very helpful to get the student feedback from what's being offered or what those students feel like they need, right?
Yes, and last night it was as simple as someone saying to me, why can't we have our swipe card in our Apple Wallet? And I said, let me write that down. Right. I'll bring it back home to Tim and we'll see what we can do. So it's being involved in the students at the level that I am is so beneficial to the university, but it fills me up unbelievably. Not anything I ever could have imagined myself doing, and it is the thrill of a lifetime.
How is it different than any of the opportunities you had before Tim took over as president, as we were talking about 13 years ago or what have you?
Well, I've always tried to be involved in meaningful things, and I was a stay-at-home mom with my children, so I felt that was meaningful. Right. If you think back to 13 years ago when we first came here, our children had just launched. You know, they had graduated, they were in their mid-20s, and so their college experience was very fresh in our minds. And when people ask, why are you doing this, or why did Tim leave corporate America to do this, or why am I involved to the level I am, I say it's to provide for your children the experience we wanted for our own children at college. And it's as simple and as complex as that.
Yeah. Full disclosure here, one of the 3 Justice children who are now in their 20s graduated from JU and had a great experience there under the tenure of Tim and Stephanie Cost. We're grateful about that.
We were grateful to have Jacob.
So when you think about all that Jacksonville University can provide, one of the things you said was that community engagement. That's what I think about in this last decade, is that the university has been plugged in that Arlington area and say, hey, what we do here, let's make sure it benefits our community. And where there was maybe gentrification or those sorts of things in Arlington, JU is a place where, hey, there's growth. Expansion on the university campus for sure, but how do you see that? Is that part of the vision that you and Tim have for the impact of JU?
Yes, absolutely. Tim is the visionary in the family. I'm the tactical person, but his vision, of course, was to raise Arlington as the campus is one of the major employers in the area, the biggest economic engine in Arlington, and so felt we had a duty for whatever we did to benefit the Arlington community, and they've responded in a wonderful way. He has great relationships with all of the Arlington business community, and it's benefited the university.
One of the things that was a huge part of the university was Fran Kinney, and President Costas talked with me in detail about just how close he felt to her. That was not just a Tim Cost experience, that was Stephanie Cost as well, right?
Absolutely. I was reflecting on that when I was preparing to come in here. And when we first moved here, a First Lady's role is not defined. It's different at every university. So it wasn't necessarily that I knew I was going to step in and do A, B, and C. And I had some time on my hands, and the best way I could serve the university, to my great delight, was that I could escort Fran Kinney to all the events we invited her to on campus. So we had many, many, many drives in the car where I got the full Fran Kinney effect, which was she makes you think you can do anything in the world. And she has such faith. She was so good at pointing out what everyone's unique qualities were. And she helped me in that way, and I am forever grateful that I got to know her and spend so much time with her.
The legacy that she has. If you're not familiar with Fran Kinney, then you need to do a little research here. K-I-N-N-E, Fran Kinney, just so inspiring because. There's power in what you just described as the Fran Kinney effect when you motivate somebody else, when you show confidence in that. if she showed confidence in you, you could take that with you and say, you know what, I think she's right. I can do anything. And at the end of the day, I think that's a big goal for Jacksonville University, for any of our higher education institutions, to say, hey, we want students who graduate and go out and say, I'm going to be able to achieve because of what I learned here.
Absolutely. And she did it unlike anyone I've ever known. The opportunity to see her interact with 18-year-olds when she was 100 years old,
Right.
and they responded to her, was a life lesson for me in how to connect with someone wherever they are. She was a master at that.
Yeah, pretty impressive. As we wrap up, I know that the reason that we're talking is because you've found a way to define what that First Lady role is for you at Jacksonville University. And it really just has seemed to me, Stephanie, that it comes from just a passion for, I want the best possible experience, the most value for these students who come through JU.
Absolutely. You said it better than I can. It's so important to me that we treat each of these students as our own, and families respond to it, the students respond to it. The team that's assembled at the university has responded to it. So we have quite a community there that's unlike any other, and we're very, very grateful.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the time with you today. Stephanie Cost, thank you so much. It was very good for us just to visit a little bit and catch up. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Every week we're delivering podcasts on this topic. This Week in Jacksonville Business Edition comes out on Thursday mornings at 9. You'll find it anywhere you get your podcast. And wherever you find it, like, subscribe, or follow. Thanks for joining us today.